Okay, Pute, a very good morning to you all. And my dear teachers and students, you all are welcome to our literature seminar conducted by the Zonal Education Office, Nigambo. Actually, we planned this earlier to be held at school time. So, you know that everyone could get access from a school internet. But unfortunately, this unexpected situation, we had to do this way, right? Anyway, let's do our best today to upgrade our level of performance at the exam, right? Hope you have received the paper yesterday. Have you all? Have you received?
Yes, teacher.
Yeah. So have you tried it? Didn't get enough time. Okay, it doesn't matter, right? So I'm not going to waste your time here. So here I'm going to invite our resource person today, Miss Peiris, the lecturer from our Professional Teacher Development Center, Bolavalana. So I will hand over the program to her. Miss Anne.
Thank you very much, Naina Madam. A very good morning to all of you, my dear sons and daughters, and my dear teachers also. It's a pleasure to meet you like this, and extremely grateful to the Zonal Education Office for organizing a thing like this, because it was a timely need, right? So rather than wasting our time, I'm going to start with our work. So I hope in due time, all of you got the presentation, right? All of you got the presentation. Sorry, not the presentation, the paper on due time, right? So analyzing the new syllabus, that means from 2016, right? We started with this syllabus. So analyzing the 2016, 17, 18, 19, and 20 papers, I simply thought some of the poems, some of the contexts we can predict, right? So I included them in this paper and prepared it. And I'm very happy if some of you at least have attempted it by this time, right? So that when we start our work, you can check how far you have completed and you have guessed the answers perfectly, right? And Pude, this is how I have planned my work today. I'm going to show you a sample answer for the first context, and for the others, I will read out so that you can take a red pen and mark. If not, if you have not answered, please write them down and later on check the answers whether they are correct. And you can do it again and check whether your answers are correct. And I'm going to focus on the long questions also, right? There I have um, carefully taken, extracted the facts you must put into the answer, right? I have selected or extracted the facts you must put into the answer so that you must get an idea, and maybe not maybe your teachers also have guided you by now on how to write, right? So pay attention on all. If you have a question, please use the chat box. But I hope at the end of the discussion, I will give you some time to ask questions. But until then, let's be focused, right? Okay. So have a look at the question paper, right? Have a look at the question paper, and I will also show it to you. Yes. Did you get the paper? And this is the first question. This is the first question. And I put my head in my hands and wept. Right. So we all know when the question is name the work and the author, it's taken from Breakfast and it is composed by Jacques-Prévert. But now, when we have two parts in the literature paper, part 1 and part 1, part 2, right? So if you are going actually for an A, if you're actually going for a B, right? We always aim for an A. අපි හැමතිස්සෙම කියන්නේ aim එක ගන්න තියෙන හොඳම එකට, right? So I invite you all to write the answer in a complete sentence, right? Write your answers in a complete sentence very quickly and very neatly, because if your total mark is 74, 73, right? Or if your total mark is 64, 63, somewhere close to another grade, the upper grade, the examiners would go around your paper. They will again calculate the total and they would check whether you can be given a better mark. ඔයාලට පුතේ ඊළඟ grade එකට දාන්න පුළුවන්ද කියලා teachers ලා බලනවා, examiners ලා බලනවා. So please write the complete sentence so that you give them the maximum chance to offer you a better mark, right? So have a look at the first answer as I have shown here. And I put my head in my hands and wept. So this line is extracted from the poem Breakfast, which is composed by Jacques-Prévert. And who is referred to as I? So you can see I is referred to who, right? The woman in the affair is referred to as I. We know in Breakfast, there are two people, right? There seems to be a man and there seems to be a woman, right? But we are not given any details as to both of them are married, right? We are not given enough details to know whether they are married. But to be on the safe side, I normally tell to write the woman in the affair or the man in the affair is referred to as I. And or the woman in the relationship is referred to as I. And finally, you can write the wife, right? Wife is referred to as I, right? But your first or second choice, I would like it if they are like it, right? Then the third question is, what action of I is mentioned here, right? What action of I? So when you are answering the third question for this, don't look anywhere, right? Don't look anywhere, don't think, just look at the context, right? Have a look at the context. And I put my head in my hands and wept. So what action of I? What's I doing, right? So she has, so you can refer to her. If it is a he or a she has kept her head on her hands and wept. That's all, right? Don't write about what happened before that. Don't write about what happened after that, right? What is important is what happens here. So she has kept her head on her hands and wept. And finally, the last question, comment on the attitude of the speaker towards this situation, right? Now, who is the speaker? It's the woman, right? The speaker is the woman. So what kind of an attitude does she have towards this situation, right? Why? I mean, she is keeping her head on her hands and she is weeping. So what is her attitude? It seems she is frustrated, right? And it seems she is disheartened, right? She's not happy and she's depressed over the situation. And this is how I would use my words, right? This is how teacher would use teacher's words to answer. And she's feeling miserable at this situation. And she's feeling miserable at this moment, right? And even you can say she seems to be confused right? And she is grief-stricken, right? So I normally encourage learners to use at least 3 adjectives to describe it, right? Give the maximum opportunity to your examiner to give you the fullest mark. You have to write for 2 marks. ලකුණු දෙකකට ලියන්න. You have to write for 2 marks. Don't just write frustrated, disheartened, depressed. This is the literature paper. So show your language. Show how competent you are in your language. Clear? Right. Let's move on to the second question. Right. Second question. For you will still be here tomorrow, but your dreams may not. You will still be here tomorrow. Your dreams may not. Right. So this extract is taken from Father and Son by Cat Stevens. Okay. This extract is taken from Father and Son, composed by Cat Stevens. Who is the speaker here? And කවුද පුතේ මෙතන speaker? Who is the speaker here? Father is the speaker here, right? Father is the speaker here. And whom are the words spoken to? Yes, it's a very clear question. You must get at least 35 from part 10, right? Part 1, section 1. You must take at least 35, right? Okay. So the words are spoken to the Son. The words are spoken to the Son. And comment on the tone of the speaker. Comment on the tone of the speaker. කොහොමද tone එක දාන්නේ? Right? Yes. Think about මේක පොඩි ප්‍රශ්නයක් තියෙනවා ඔයගලන්ට. දැන් බලන්න. ඔන්න. Now I asked you to answer the paper and come to the lecture. Right? How many of you have answered? Why didn't you do that? I have always asked you to do the work and come. What kind of a tone did I use? It was a very angry tone, right? A very agitated tone, right? Now think, like, it's good. Even on the Vesak Poetry, listening to our teachers and joining our Zoom session to discuss about the literature paper. It shows that you are hardworking, working hard. So what kind of a tone do I have? Then mage tone එක කොයි වගේද? Right? A very understanding, encouraging. So that means you have to listen to the voice, you have to listen to the words and identify the kind of tone a speaker has. Understood? Listen to the voice and go through the words and then try to identify what kind of a tone the speaker has towards the person he is speaking to. Clear? Right. The mama right? When I was using an angry tone, what about the mood it created? How did you feel? Right? Agitated? Excited? Nervous? Yes, that was the mood. And when I was encouraging you, when I was appreciating you, then you are in an encouraging mood. You are in a happy mood, and you are in a positive mood. So tone and mood, they are interconnected. Tone creates the mood. Understood? The tone of a speaker creates the mood. Right, come back. Comment on the tone of the speaker. For you will still be here tomorrow, but your dreams may not. So what is the tone of the father towards his son? It's like he is advising, right? A tone of advising. And the father seems to be very patient, right? Father seems to be very patient. And what else? What other words can you use to think about the tone of the speaker? Understanding, right? For you will still be here tomorrow, but your dreams may not. and some kind of a persuasion, persuading the son to make a decision, a persuasive tone. Clear? Right? Did you guess it? What kind of words have you used, Pute, in your answer? For the tone, share with me what kind of words have you used? Never mind. Write down the correct answers. That's all. Third one. We are moving on to the third context. Tell you what, you're very rude. And after all, who are you? I tell you what, you're very rude. And after all, who are you? So what is it taken from? And who is the writer? Just think for 1 minute if you did not answer earlier. What is it taken from? It's taken from The Nightingale and the Rose, and it is written by Oscar Wilde, right? The Nightingale and the Rose by Oscar Wilde. Let's go to the second question. Who is the speaker here, right? So as you have already guessed, I think the speaker is none other than, yes, the speaker is none other than the professor's daughter, right? It is the professor's daughter speaking here. And whom are the words spoken to? The words are spoken to the young student. The words are spoken to the young student. Right. I want answers for the last question. What attitude of the speaker towards the person spoken to is expressed here? You get 2 marks for this. Api balam, kawuda hari uttare kiyan. What attitude of the speaker towards this person spoken to is expressed here? I'll give you 1 minute. Type your answer. If you want, you can tell. Yes, Lakmini from Nimala Maria. Can you tell, Pute? What attitude of the speaker towards the person spoken to? Sandeepa? Kaushalya? I get the correct answer. A condemning tone, a cynical tone. Yes, thank you. A condemning tone or a cynical tone is used by the speaker here. Why do you say it's a condemning tone? Yes, she seems she wants to reject him directly without any hesitation. Yes, have a look at this again. After all, who are you? Right now, Oscar Wilde mentions certain people by their job or by their profession. Yes, the daughter, she's not given a name, right? This girl, she's not given a name, whether she was Elizabeth, whether she was Victoria, whether she was Mary, whether she was Lucy, no name is given, right? But she is that one's daughter. May Vadavasam Yuge Manasikatse Pute. Feudalism, the results of feudalism, right? So people are identified by their job, right? Professor's daughter, right? And then she has a special attachment to Chamberlain's nephew. It's not just Marcus. It is not just Samuel. It is not just John. It is a name is not important. He is Chamberlain's nephew, right? So that means the society was conscious of the class. It was a class conscious society. And what about the young student? He is nobody. He does not have a name. and he does not have a titled person to attach to. He is nobody's nobody, right? Now, what is the professor's daughter telling, right? Who are you after all? So she is extremely conscious of class, right? So her attitude, as you told, can be cynical, but I think better to go for the other one, right? She's extremely rude, right? And impolite and disrespectful and class conscious. Got it? Impolite, disrespectful, class conscious. And then I got another answer. Condemning tone, right? A condemning tone, right? So if you have not written them, please write them down. Yes. I'm extremely sorry, teacher, right? Yes, Lakmini, right. Number 4. අපි යමු 4ට. She half smiled. In confusion, it seemed. Right? So what is it taken from? She half smiled. In confusion, it seemed. I hope all of your books are closed. Right? All of your anthologies are closed. So what is this work taken from? And who is the writer? Perfect. Ramiru. It's taken from Wave by Sonali Dharaniyakala. So who is she? Next question is, who is she? මෙතන she කියන්නේ අපි කාටද? Correct. She is a reference to Beulah, right? She is referred to Beulah, right? She is referred to Beulah. Excellent. I got the correct answers. What action of she is mentioned in the extract? So what is her action that is mentioned here? Right? She wanted to get onto the jeep, but as she was raising her hand, the vehicle jerked, right? And the grip, right? She was trying to hold on and she was slightly touching the hand of another person, but the jerk put her down, right? So the moment when Beulah stayed laying on the driveway, smiling in confusion, she was smiling, but it was a smiling confusion. Why? She was looking up and she saw the jeep pull away. Now the jeep is moving ahead. Jeep එක යනවා යාව දාලා. And the jeep will never come back to take her. So she has fallen down and she lost her grip, right? So that is the action that is mentioned here, right? Or if you I mean, that is the history or the background. What action of she is mentioned here? She half smiled and she was in a confusion, right? She half smiled, she was in a confusion. Even that's enough, right? You have to take the idea from the context. Right. It's not taken from Twilight of a Crane, right? Jonathan, it's taken from Wave. It's taken from Wave. Have a look at the anthology. If you have it close to you, it's on page number 38 in my book, right? It's on page number 38 in my book, the last line of the paragraph. Okay, let's move ahead. Well, now, it's nice to have got 2 pieces of the cloth. God bless us. That's very clear. It's taken from Twilight of a Crane by Yuzua Junji Kinoshita. අර අපි යාළුවන්ට කෙටිනම් කියනවා වගේ පුතේ කිනෝෂිටා කියලා විතරක් ලියන්න එපා. Right? Write the exact name. Yuzua Junji Kinoshita. And are you sure it is Twilight of a Crane? It's not the Twilight of a Crane? Yes, there is no there's no determiner, right? And when you write the name of the work, make sure you capitalize correctly. Twilight of a crane, twilight T capital, crane C capital. All the other words are in simple. Okay, right. Who is the speaker here? So just tell me, who is the speaker here? So though is the speaker here. Correct. Whom are the words spoken to? Then whom are the words spoken to? Have a look at the last page. Have a look at the last page of the drama. Whom are the words spoken to? Are they spoken to Unzu? Are they spoken to himself? He is half speaking to himself. Well, now it's very nice to have got two pieces of the cloth. Yes, he is speaking to himself, right? These words were spoken to himself. Then, last question. What theme in the play does this extract refer to? Right? What is the theme this extract is connected to? In one word, what is the theme, Puti? Avarice, right? The theme of avarice, A-V-A-R-I-C-E, right? The theme of avarice, A-V-A-R-I-C-E, avarice. It is related to, and money-mindedness. Money-mindedness. Avarice means greed for money, right? These are prominent in this extract. And you can say it further emphasizes the capitalistic society. It further emphasizes the selfishness of the capitalistic society, right? Capitalistic මේ වගේ සමාජයක මිනිස්සුන්ගේ තියෙන ආත්මාර්ථකාමීත්වය තමයි මේක පෙන්වන්නේ. They are not worried about what happens to Sue. They are not worried about the destruction created in the family, but they want more. Understood? The selfishness created by the capitalistic society. Okay? My word, it's the first time in my life that I have seen. Yes, if this is from the twilight, definitely this is from the bear. Okay, this is extracted from The Bear by Anton Chekhov. Let's have a look at the other questions. Who is the speaker of these words? Oh, the Mevachana Katha Kevani. These words were uttered by Smirnov. He is the speaker. Then whom are they spoken to? How do the Mevachana Kiyan? Whom are they spoken to? Tell me the answer quickly. Whom are the words spoken to? These are the words. My word, it's the first time. Yes? That is it. Dulwan. The words are, Ramiro says they are spoken to Popova. Dulwan says they are spoken to himself. Have a look at the book for it, right? Before Smirno utters this, Popova has taken her leave, right? Popova goes to take the guns and then parodying her, laughing and talking about her. During that, Smirno says this, my word, it's the first time in my life that I have seen, right? The words were spoken to himself or to the audience. Understood? All right. Comment on the tone of the speaker. How will you comment on the tone of the speaker? Yes. What kind of a tone is there? Is he appreciating or is he laughing? Is he amazed? Right? My word, it's the first time in my life. He's amazed, right? The tone is amazed and he's astounded and startled, right? At the surprised behavior of Popoa. At the surprised behavior of Popoa. Clear? Right. Liagatada, amazed, astounded, and startled. Right. Let's move on to the extract, novel extract. The novel extract. I took just one extract, right, from just one book. If there are further charges, ask the cousin. We'll pay them, that's all. You can ask me whenever you like. I'm not flying away to another planet. The cousin was amazed at the transformation in Jacob, who kept repeating, his eyes still wet. A little prison life won't harm anyone. I must not miss the bus at the market gate at 8:30. I don't want to ask questions. But tell me, where is she? He asked, rising and shouldering his bag. Yes. So what is this incident that's mentioned here? What is the incident, Hudeh? If there are further charges, is it about a good? Is it about something to be sold in the shop? Is it about something they are counting on? Like counting money? What is it? Guess and tell me. This takes place in the last chapter of the novel, The Winter of Sweets. Clear? This takes place in the last chapter of the novel, The Winter of Sweets. Right? So this incident happens where Jagan hands over a check. He is handing over a check to the cousin for Marley's lawyer's preliminary charges, preliminary expenses. Now Marley is in the custody. So something must be done to take him out. So Jagan gives a check to the cousin to pay for the preliminary, the initial expenses. And he inquires about Grace. Yeah, Kali. Tell me, where is she? He is inquiring about Grace before leaving to the market gate to catch a bus. Understood? Who is she referred to by the speaker? So here, she is none other than Grace, right? Grace is referred to as she. What is transformation? So what is the meaning of transformation here? The cousin was amazed at the transformation in Jagat. Yes? Think and tell me, what is the contextual meaning here? Change, that's it, right? Just change, that's enough. No need for complete sentences here. Shouldering, have a look at it. He asked, rising and shouldering his bag. So shouldering means putting something over one's shoulder, right? Putting something over one's shoulder. Just that. Let's move to the last question. Comment on the behavior of the second speaker. Who is the second speaker? Is it the cousin or is it Jagan? So if you write about cousin, if Jagan is the second speaker, your answer is wrong. So you have to go through the dialogue and identify who is the first speaker and who is the second speaker. So you can see now the second speaker is Jagan. So how will you comment on the behavior of Jagan? Yes? Tell me a few things that you can guess, that you can feel about his behavior. Yes? Now you found the word transformation. So you can say the behavior of the second speaker is transformative, right? Or is, you can see a transformation in his behavior. Then it seems he is working with responsibility towards his son. It seems he is working with responsibility towards his son. And he behaves and talks with ease and appears to be fugitive. Right? He appears to be fugitive. Okay. Right. I hope all of you jotted down what we were discussing on. So I'm going to take you to the second part 2, the questions, right? So here I have selected the facts that must go into the answer. Maybe you can remember that when your class teacher was teaching you, she explained to you the number of marks allocated for language. Q&A the teacher. For the long questions, 15 marks. Out of the 15 marks, how many marks go for content? How many marks go for language? And how many marks go for organizing the facts? Yes. Tell me soon. Is it just 4 marks, 5 marks, 6 marks, 7 marks, 8 marks? How many? Yes. For the content, you are given 7 marks. That means you must write for 7 marks. Clear? Let's go to that. Right. I selected the poem, A Bird Came Down the Wall, right? Mainly because this poem was present in 2019. අපි දකිනවා මේ poem එක දීලා තියෙනවා. 2019, right? And after that, it has not appeared. So I simply thought it can be a very good choice this year. Right. බලන්න ටීචර් පොඩි පැහැදිලි කිරීමක් කරන්න යන්නේ. Now this is the question. ප්‍රශ්න දිහා ආයෙ බලන්න. The supremacy of nature against the vulnerability of man. Okay? The supremacy, the grandeur, the important station of nature against the vulnerability of man. So how many parts are there to the question? If I ask you to classify the question, how many parts are there to the question? 1, 2, or 3? Yes? How many parts are there to the question? 2 parts. There are 2 parts to the question with it, right? So that means when you're answering, you must answer, or you must give facts to show information about both parts. Right? Then අපිට organizing වලට පුතේ ලකුණු වෙනවා 4. Right? Now one part is the supremacy of nature. The second part is vulnerability of man. Now out of these two, which must you select first? මෙතකින් කොයි එකද ඔයගොල්ලෝ ඉස්සෙල්ලා select කරන්න ඕනේ? උත්තර දෙන්න. Which gives you positive facts, right? The section that gives you positive facts, that you have to select first. So is it supremacy of nature or is it vulnerability of man? Yes, the supremacy of nature. Yes, Lakshmani teacher, I will come to it at the end, right? Okay. Please remind me. Yes. So when we take the supremacy of nature, you can go through the poem and gather facts that highlight the qualities, the superior qualities, or the civilized elements of the bird, right? That is what teacher also did. So have a look at it. Firstly, අපිට ඉස්සෙල්ලම ගන්න පුළුවන් පුතේ මේක. Bird. Bird signifies nature, and the bird symbolizes nature. Bird is self-dependent, right? Bird is self-dependent. That means it does not need a man to feed it, right? But do birds come and wait until you feed them? No. Bird can find its own food. Bird can find its own beverage, right? So bird or nature is self-dependent as it can find its own food and beverage. That is the first fact, right? So when you give a fact in the long questions, give the fact, explain it, relate it to life, and give a quotation. Without a quotation, your answers are not valid. You have to give quotations to prove, to give evidence. Sakshi දෙන්න ඕනේ. නිකන් කියන්න බෑ, right? So, and at the same time, you can say, now when bird or nature is self-dependent, man is not. That is why we say nature is supreme, right? Man is dependent, nature is independent. Number 2, and nature is civilized as it seems to walk and is agitated by the sudden presence of a man. The man is behaving like an intruder. He is not given permission to enter the premises, and the man is intruding. So that is not nice, right? So, but nature is civilized, right? Nature does not perform any unnecessary action. Only man is creating unnecessary problems. So nature is civilized, man is not civilized. Man has become an intruder and intruding upon the unnecessary or intruding upon others' territories, you can say, right? Intruding upon other people's territories. Clear? I have not used the word territory here. You can write it. Number 3, nature is conscious of its boundaries. Nature dannawa neda putte. This is my territory. Excuse me. This is my territory. So it knows it. And it knows its limitations. And it does not greedily gulp everything. Nature is conscious of its limits, right? And it does not eat anything greedily. Like eating the ankle worm in halves raw, but hopped sidewise to let the beetle pass. But it was a predator. It takes animals. It takes insects for its means. How about us? Right? When we go to a wedding, we would take the main course, we would take the starters, and finally we would go to the desserts. And when there are 10 desserts, what do? We take everything. And finally, when the waiter comes, still heaps of the dessert is left, right? So we people are very greedy, but the animals are not. So that is also highlighted. Maybe not all, but a lot. Number fourth fact, what is it? It was vulnerable. Nature. It can be nature. Nature was vulnerable. That means susceptible to the slightest change in the environment, right? It is scared about the simplest change that happened in the environment. So when man was intruding, when man was eavesdropping, nature became agitated, right? So they looked like frightened beasts, I thought. The eyes of the bird spoke volumes about its feelings. It spoke volumes, right? So that is number 4. Last fact I have selected here. 5 will be enough. If you want, you can add more. Right. The bird cleverly left the conflicting environment without paving way for further distress. Now, it saw a man coming. It saw the man offering a crumb. So it got agitated. And did it stay there to see what happens next? No. And we have seen in Robin Hood, and we have seen in English movies and dramas that birds are hunted, right? In foreign countries, the birds are hunted. So maybe the bird is scared. And the poem is written by Emily Dickinson. So she is also a foreign writer, right? Right? So what did he do? He did not wait to create any unnecessary conflicts, but he unrolled his feathers, right? Unrolled, right? Unrolled. See the beauty of the language. Unrolled his feathers and rode himself to home, right? Use the wings, right? Like oars. And it was rowing himself to home. So it's a metaphor. The writer is using beautiful metaphorical language to talk about the flight of the bird, how it flew. Right. So that is about the supremacy of nature. But let's have a look at the vulnerability of man. Manusya ගැන කියන්න Emily Dickinson මොනවද use කරන්නේ? Let's have a look at it. Yes. What's the theme of what's the meaning of vulnerable? Dictionary meaning is this: exposed to the possibility of being attacked or harmed, either physically or emotionally, right? Something or somebody exposed to the possibility of being attacked or harmed, or either physically or emotionally. So I think man, or the speaker, or the poet, he was emotionally attacked. Why? He wanted comfort in offering a crumb to the bird, but the bird rejected that. So the poetess was emotionally attacked. Just think if it happens to you, but you go after a parrot, you go after a small sparrow, and you offer a fruit, or you offer some food. But if they look at you in an agitated way and fly away, you get the feeling of rejection. It has happened to me. It might have definitely happened to you. So that means the word vulnerable is accepted here. Right? So did man become vulnerable in a Manusya when the bird was walking grandly and in a civilized manner in his environment, man is intruding. Clear? So that is the start. Number 2, the bird could manage its own meals. Right? It can manage its own meals. But the speaker offered it a crumb in an uncivilized manner. But the bird has lost its trust on human beings. right? So bird is no longer going to take any baits offered by man because no more trust is there for the man. Number 3 or C, rejection. Rudely, the bird started to fly away. It took to flight. After sighting the man, after seeing the man, after noticing the man in its terrain, in its environment, in its territory, in its place, without leaving a single trace of its presence. එයා ගියේ කොහෙද කියලාවත් පේන්න තිබ්බේ නැහැ. Why? Maybe the bird is scared the man would follow, right? Maybe the bird is scared the man would follow him and come and trap him and come and take him for a meal, like Peter Rabbit Peter Rabbit to Bekel, Peter Rabbit ke father Bekel gatta wage, right? And in many stories we know the birds are taken for meals. So the bird is scared, right? So you can take the quotation, and he unrolled his feathers and rode him after home. Trace එකක් නෑ අහසෙවත්. පැහැදිලිද? Right? So these facts you have to take. Don't repeat. There must be facts. It's very logical, Buddha. In answering a literature paper, you have to think as if you're answering a maths paper. You have to very logically argue out, right? And the facts must not be repeated. Under organization, you're given 4 marks. So if you repeat, you lose marks. And you can't start the vulnerability first and come to the supremacy second, because you have to come from the broad to the narrow, right? වඩා වැදගත් එකෙන් අඩුවෙන් වැදගත් එකට එන්න ඕනේ. Clear? Right. Let's move. අපි යමු ඊළඟ ප්‍රශ්නෙට. වෙලාව යනවා වැඩි. All right. The next question is from voice kind. When you take voice kind, it comes under the theme conflict. The question, this poem is taken for questions in 2016 and in 2019. So teacher thought maybe this year also it can come, right? This year also it can come because we have facts to answer. අපිට තියෙනවා නේද කරුණු මේකට උත්තර ලියන්න. Because in 2022 we saw the world experiencing war in Ukraine and Russia. So we have facts. Okay. So what is the question? It's a very easy question. War destroys and it has no exceptions, right? War destroys and it has no exceptions. So discuss about it with reference to the poem, right? I gave the question to another set of students, and one has mistakenly identified the word exception as expectation, right? Exception means it does not leave anybody out of the game, right? Think about the war in Ukraine. The shells, the mortar, the guns, they did not have selections, right? They did not have favorites. It attacked youth, it attacked mothers, fathers, children, babies, pregnant mothers, churches. So that means it has no exception. Even hospitals, schools. We think, even the Red Cross says, you must not lay your hand on these people. But the bomb, it does not know. And no, nobody is left, right? So I took just 6 facts. How about you? I hope you wrote answers. Then only you can guess and you can argue with me. No, can't we take it like this? Right? The first one, I took the title. As the first fact, I took the title, right? Voice kind. This is a very ironical statement. එක හරියට අපි කිව්වොත් එකට සමාන දෙයක් teacher මෙහෙම කියන්නම්. This is just literature, right? It's nothing beyond that. නමුත් මේක ඔයගලන්ට හොඳට තේරෙනවා. petrol වල price එක මේ දවස්වල හොඳයි. Right? petrol වල price එක මේ දවස්වල හොඳයි. So හොඳයි කියන්නේ, is it a very good statement, or is it a very cynical statement, an ironical statement, right? So why? Because actually war is not kind. ඇත්තම තත්ත්ව ගත්තොත් war is unkind. පොඩ්ඩක්වත් නෑ kindness, right? So take the topic as first. Number 2, I'm taking as number 2, war has destroyed the lives and dreams of people of all walks of life, right? I'm touching it at a very broad spectrum, right? In a very broad way. Now, when you look at the poem, War is Kind, in the first, second, third, fourth stanza, in the fourth stanza, you come across this. These men were born to drill and die, right? These men is a reference to the soldiers. They were born to drill and die. Point for them the virtue of slaughter, right? Point for them. Point for them means, for them, the most important thing is to sharpen the skill of slaughtering. මැරීමේ කුසලතාවය තමයි ඒගොල්ලෝ ප්‍රගුණ කරගන්න ඕනේ. They must sharpen their skill in killing people, slaughtering people. And slaughtering is not a word we are using with people. Slaughtering animals, slaughtering cows, right? When people take them for meat, right? But like animals, the soldiers must learn the art of slaughtering people, like, and make plain to them the excellence of killing. So they must know how to be excellent in killing, right? So take these two lines as quotes and say, so all people must be killed. All opponents, all enemies must be slaughtered. You look at them in the glass just to check whether they are enemies or friends. You look at them just to know whether they are opponents or friends, or whether they are on your part. You're not checking whether they are babes. You're not checking whether they are just parents. You're not checking whether they are doctors or farmers or teachers or principals or whoever it is, right? So war has destroyed the lives and dreams of people from all walks of life. Now, when you're answering this question, you can quote you can refer to Terrorist is Watching as well, because both are touching upon a similar theme. මේ දෙකෙන්ම කතා කරන්නේ එක සමාන තේමාවක්. ඒ හින්දා මේකත් ගන්න, right? So in cross references within the syllabus is good. Then number 3, have a look at follow the arrows. Now I'm going to take situations. In the first stanza, the writer says about a maiden, right? And the maiden is asked not to weep. Do not weep, maiden. For war is kind. යුද්ධ හරීම කරුණාවන්තයි. ඔයා අඬන්න. War has robbed a maiden her future, right? Just think, Pute, a girl was in love, right? A beautiful girl was in love with her boyfriend. And suddenly she comes across the news. This soldier boyfriend has died, right? When he was engaged in the war, he lost his life. එතකොට මේ ගෑනු ළමයාට නැති වෙන්නේ පිරිමි ළමයා විතරද? No. War is robbing the girl, the maiden, her entire future. Because we pin our hopes with our loved ones, right? Now, I'm married. I have 2 sons and my husband. So for me, my sons are my world. I see the world through them. My future is them. All my hopes are clung with them. So we pin all our hopes with the most loved people in our lives. So what does she lose? She loses her future. She loses her dreams. And she loses her expectations. And particularly, she loses her tomorrow. හෙට කියන දවසක් එයාට නැහැ. එයාගේ හෙට කියන දවස හොරකම් කරලා යුද්ධේ. Clear? So be very critical in your answers. Uttara sagacha karanaකොට when you discuss, be very critical. Kyona kenada ridenna liyanakකොට. Then only you are mastering the art of analyzing. Clear? Right. So, and you have to say this maid is representing all the young girls who have sacrificed their lives for wars. Right. I saw a very beautiful quotation about war. Right. Not from the poetry, this poem or the anthology, but something outside. One person says the rulers and the seniors, they decide upon war, right? The rulers and the senior people, they decide to have war. And the youth pay for that. The young, they pay for that. That's true. Yes. The fourth fact, war has destroyed a babe, his world, right? So yeah, there is a young babe, right? For the young baby, the world is the shoulder of his father, right? The father's hands, as long as the babe's father's hands are strong, he will have everything in the world, right? Father will work and bring everything. And father will use his hands to protect. Father will use his hands to raise the child up to the world. It will be a pedestal. So when a father is lost by a child, strength, security against all things, everything, against all odds, is lost, is destroyed when killing him, when killed, right? When killing his young soldier father, right? So I have used different words. If you pay attention, see, war robs and war destroys. Not only that, war isolates people, war isolates people. War has, next fact, war has isolated the lap of a mother. Amma කෙනෙක්ගේ උකුල, it has isolated that. And it has emptied her bosom of the warmth of a grown-up son, right? So there'll be more mothers weeping. There'll be more mothers lamenting all alone because they don't have the strength of a son. Clear? So give quotations. I did not select quotations because you can very easily do that. And finally, all have experience. That means people from all walks of life, a maiden, a babe, and a mother. They have lost 3 men in life. So in the society, every woman has 3 men, has either one of these 3 men in their lives. So that means all have experienced the same blight, death and destruction. ඉතින් මේ හැමෝටම දෙයක් නැති වුණා නම්, can you say there is an exception in war? There's no exception. Clear? Right. So analyze well. Analyze well when you're answering. I'm moving. Yes. Read the question. Yes. The question is for them, the poor people of downtown were the happiest, right? The poor people of downtown were the happiest. Do you agree? අපිට කිව්වේ Richard Corey happiest කියලානේ. So how can it be that downtown people were the happiest? Let's go through it. අපි බලමු පොඩ්ඩක් කියලා. Now, when you have to introduce these today. You have to gradually introduce, and in any answer, do not narrate. Right? Don't try to narrate the stories. කතන්දර කියන්න එපා. Long answers, they are not relevant. You must take the facts and tell, and you must always keep in mind your examiner knows the text. එයාට කතන්දර කියන්න යන්න එපා. Right? Okay. Now there are 2 parties in the poem. So mention them, who they are in your introduction. and mention the theme in the introduction. Talk about the relevance of the theme in your introduction. Richard Corey and downtown people, right? And did you notice, Puta, why Richard Corey, a big name in capital letters given? And so everybody knows this person. And on the other side, downtown people. That means no names. ඒ මිනිස්සුන්ගේ වැදගත්කමක් නැහැනේ. ඒ මිනිස්සුන්ට නම් දීලා නැහැ. එහෙමද? Do you think these people are not important? That's why the writer has not given the names. How do you think about it? Shehani? Just give an idea. Why has the writer not used names when referring to the downtown people? Any answers? Yes. It's open for you. You can discuss. Now I'm moving to the body part of the answer. Were downtown people happier than Richard Corey? So are we given facts to prove that the downtown people were happier? Right? We have to extract the thing. අපිට අමාරුවෙන් වුණත් මෙයා තෝරගන්න ඕනේ. කොතනින්ද කියන්නේ writer? How does the writer say that they were happier than Richard Corey? Okay. Richard Corey seemed to have enjoyed his downtown journeys, right? So Richard Corey to come downtown, that means he's coming from uptown. Am I correct? Downtown, going uptown, right? So he's coming from uptown, downtown. So the names, they are symbolic. If you look at it in another way, අපි තව විදිහකට ඔබ දිහා බැලුවොත්, the man coming from uptown, like the word says, maybe he is a person who is belonging to a different strata, right? A higher strata in the society, a higher standard. Then downtown people, their houses were not so good. Maybe they were living in shanties. So downtown, neither. ඉහළ කියන නම අස්සේ ඉහළ මිනිස්සු ඉහළ පැලැන්තියක්. පහළ කියන නම අස්සේ පහළ පැලැන්තියක්. Yes, the writers normally do that. Writers, they do that. And අපි කියන්නේ Asselin, Magdalene, Margaret, they live in shanties, right? And the big names, Victoria, Elizabeth, they live in palaces like that. Neither. Please excuse me if you have anybody related with those names, right? So come back. Richard Corey seemed to have enjoyed his downtown journeys. So that means he saw something that he did not have in uptown. At uptown, downtown, right? Which line says that? Whenever Richard Corey went downtown. So how many times has he come downtown? Was it once, 2 times, 3 times? We don't know. But it seems he has come here countless times, a lot of times, whenever, whenever, right? A lot of times. Number 2, so analyze it, right? Please remind the quotes. Quotations Number 2, he has treated the downtown people quite respectfully, right? So that means he saw something. He saw that they must be respected. So, and he was always human when he talked, right? He used to talk with the downtown people. And he was not inhuman when he talked with the downtown, right? But that is why we say Sri Lanka must develop. Because when we talk, we basically think about where the people are living. But here, see, the uptown man, when he comes downtown, he was extremely humane when he was talking, right? He treated them respectfully, right? So that means he saw something that must be respected in the people. Maybe it was happiness. Normally, happiness attracts people. You guess, you keep on writing, guessing, or proving to the examiner. Richard Corey was coming after something. Probably it has to be happiness. He did not have happiness at home. That's why he is coming to downtown in search of happiness. Okay. Number 3, he has greeted the people, right? Good morning. But why? He was attracted to a special quality in them. ඒ මිනිස්සු ගාව විශේෂිත විශේෂ දෙයකට මෙයා කාන්දමක් වගේ හැදෙනවා. Right? So what was the magnetism that held the people together? And what was the magnet that attracted Richard Corey to downtown? Yes, was it happiness? Number 4, Richard Corey, just one isolated popular character. අපි නමකින් කියනකොට that means everybody knows that character. So just one of that type. But a lot of people living downtown, right? So narrator has done a marvelous work. But on the narrative style, like, how can you comment on the narrative style of Richard Corey? Richard Corey ke narrative style like මොකක්ද පුතේ? How will you comment on that? Yes. When we take the second line, whenever Richard Corey went downtown, we people living on the pavement, we people on the pavement. So if you are given the second line and ask the question, comment on the narrative style of the second line. How will you comment on that? We people on the pavement. Yes. ඒකේ මොකක්ද තියෙන narrative technique එක? Narrative style එක. We. Yes. Sandeep. Ashwini. Kaushalya. Yeah. It represents ordinary people like you and me. Yeah. And Dulwan says, first person. Yes, but you have to go beyond that. එතනින් එහාට යන්න ඕනේ. දැන් I කිව්වොත් first person singular. When he says we, it is first person plural, right? So a lot of people on that side, first person plural. But when you look at the third line, අපි third line එකට ගියොත්, he was a gentleman from soul to crown. He was a gentleman from soul to crown. So he is the third person singular. නේද? එහෙමනම් ගොඩක් මිනිස්සු, a lot of people were looking at just one character. A lot in one side, just one in the other side. Right? So Richard Corey was an isolated character, right? But he's a popular isolated character. That is why everybody knew his name. But there were more people living in downtown, right? We people on the pavement looked at him, right? Is it clear? Is it clearer? Dulwan, I think you understood it, right? Okay. And all the others who are silent, I think you also understood. Right. Last fact. අපි පොතේ narrative style එක හොඳට හඳුනා ගන්න ඕනේ based on the line you get, right? The line you get. Sometimes for the entire poem you have the same narrative technique, but sometimes line by line when you analyze, the narrative style changes. So pay attention on that. Then the last fact, the dramatic reversal at the end. Right? There is a dramatic reversal from the beginning until you come to the last line of the last stanza. We are informed this so-called glittering figure who is schooled in every grace keeps on traveling and journeying round downtown, greeting the people good morning and extremely happy, like, humanly talking like that. But one summer day, right? One summer day. That means one calm summer day and one uneventful night, right? කිසිම සිද්ධියක් වෙච්ච නැති බොහොම සාමාන්‍ය දවසක රෑ. What happens? Something we never expected happens. Richard Corey went home and put a bullet through his head. Right? So that means he has walked. There was a reason. There can be a reason for him to keep a bullet to his head. Neither. Hurry. So these are the 5 facts I'm sharing with you. But have a look at this. I have something different also. Make a diha balan. A decently dressed man, Richard Corey, I'm putting his cycle of realization, the walk he used to take downtown, like this. Richard Corey walks through downtown, right? He leaves his home and he starts walking. And people saw him as a gentleman. A lot of people looked at him and they thought, oh, he is a gentleman and he is clean favored. And see, he's imperially slim. This is an oxymoron, right? Imperially slim. You can take it as an oxymoron. Imperial, regal, royal, royally slim, right? Normally, royal people, we don't use the word slim with them, but now the modern trend is to be slim, right? Okay. Afterwards, I'm going to මිනිස්සු බල බල යනවා. And people looked at him and people thought, he is so nicely dressed. He is so nicely dressed. And he is human. See, very gentleman, every bit a gentleman. And shimmering. He's shining, glittering. Men don't wear glittering clothes, but that is exaggeration. Right? Exaggeration. And after this, richer than a king. Richer than a king. And schooled in every grace. Yeah, train වෙලා තියෙනවා. මෙතන schooled කියන්නේ it is not the meaning of going to school for everything, but he's trained for everything. That means to eat, to drink, to walk, to smile, and to breathe. Do you think it's true? Can you be schooled in every grace? Then to look into the mirror? Then to brush your teeth? And then to conduct yourself publicly, how to talk with other people. So that is also an exaggeration. Exaggeration. After seeing all these and after getting the views and looks of the normal people living downtown, one day he came home and he might have realized what was missing in his life. And then only he committed suicide. Right? So I think that way. Teacher right? So you also can take this information if you think you can agree with it. Right? Okay. Quickly write it. Those who want it, you can make a quick note of it. Finish drawing and raise your hand. I'll give you 2 minutes for that. Yes. Have you finished? Yes, I can see one hand. It is very good when you are responsive, right, Putin? That's good. Yes. Thank you very much, Puta. Thank you. Okay. Put your hands down. Right. I'm taking you to another very popular poem around you. All වයසේ ළමයි ගොඩක් මාස poem එක තමයි Father and Son, right? And I have seen very good answers when you answer them, and mostly they are personal, right? You tend to write based on your experiences when you're answering Father and Son. Okay. Now, when you take Father and Son today, it has come in 2018. ඒ ප්‍රශ්නය ඇවිල්ලා තියෙන්නේ මේ poem එකෙන් 2018 විතරයි. So that means this year also you might get a question. So be prepared for that. ඒකට පොඩ්ඩක් ලෑස්ති වෙන්න, right? Let's have a look at the question. Parents need to respect the privacy. That means the youth. Privacy means the individual world of the youth, right? Parents need to respect the privacy and decisions of the youth. Do you think this is true with the poem Father and Son? So you have to discuss, right? Do you think, what is your general understanding? Must parents respect your privacy and your decisions? When you are taking the poem, when you are taking the phone, your father or mother is coming and having a look at it. When you go to the room to do something on your own, your mother would come and ask, Puta, what are you doing? And then again, when you are going out to take a call to your friend, so why did you go out? Can't you take the call here? It seems they want to know everything you are doing, right? That's the overwhelming love, right? ඒ තමයි පුතේ අර උතුරලා යන ආදරයෙන් හින්දා parents ලා කරන දේවල්, right? But as years go by, when you are young, you want your mother and father to be very close to you. But as you become a youth, you need your freedom. You don't want your mother and father to make decisions for you. එහෙම නේද? I saw that in your answers. Teacher, දැක්කයම ඔයාලා වගේම ළමයි ගොඩක් ලිව්ව උත්තරවල. Let's have a look at it, right? මේකට ටිකක් වැඩිපුර අවධානය දෙන්න. මේකට ඔයාලට හොඳට උත්තර ලියන්න පුළුවන්, right? Now the theme here is generation gap or lack of understanding between parents and youth. Okay. So the facts that I took are these. මම ගත්ත කරුණු 6ක්. මේ 6ට අමතරව ඔයගලන්ට devices ගැන උනත් comment කරන්න පුළුවන්, right? Select more than 5 facts to write the long answer. And I would like it if you write something like 2.5 pages or 3 pages for the long answer, right? Then you are very safe. The first fact is today, youth do not expect their parents to command over them. Yes, do you agree? Monkey, what hands up those who agree with this. I will see all 36 hands. Right. Sorry. Teachers, Mawai, අනිත් teachers ලවයි අයින් කරපුවම ඉන්න අනිත් හැම දරුවම අතුස්සනවා. Right. One. Yes, I know you are like that, right? So you don't expect your parents to command over them. I'll tell you something. ලොකු වෙලාවක් කියන්නේ මම මිනිත්තුවක් කරන් චූටි දෙයක් කියන්නම්. My youngest son, he is in grade 8. And when I sometimes tell Puta, please open the gate, Puta, please do this, he does not do that at once. But he waits until I forgets it. And then he would do that. Because they don't want somebody to tell, right, anything to them. So you do not expect their parents to command over them. So So which line says this, Shaman? Koi line nahi unde meka kiyanne. From the moment I could talk, I was ordered to listen. You listen to this. You do this. No, 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 no. I don't want your excuses. Do this. It's like in The Sound of Music, the movie. Right? අර සරිගම කියලා ෆිල්ම් එකක් ආව සිංහල. ඒකේ ඉංග්‍රීසි ෆිල්ම් එක තමයි Sound of Music. ඒකෙත් තියෙන්නේ එහෙම තමයි නේද? Father keeps the whistle. He normally other people would take to call a dog, and it has different whistles. He can just order. He does not listen. Right? Number 2. අපි බලමු දෙවෙනි එක. Youth prefer changes. Right? They want to change. They like changes, and they want to make critical decisions regarding their future. They want to make decisions. එයාලා කැමති ඒගොල්ලන්ගේ තීරණ ගන්න. But parents do not want them to think on their own. Parents do not want their children to think on their own. Is this correct? මේක හරිද? When I was finding facts for this, I thought about my children. Right? Then I really understood the poem. Right? We don't want you to make decisions. Why? Because we think they might be wrong and you might get lost. But your story is different. You want to make your own decisions. You think they are correct. Right? So what is it then? It is the generation gap. It is the lack of understanding. Right? So the quotation I selected here is, it's not time to make a change. Right? තාත්තා හිතන්නේ this is not the time to make a change. Yes. Number 3, youth want to be responsible for their own decisions and does not want their parents to interfere with them. Right? So the youth, you want to be responsible for your decisions. If you think you want to, now you are at a junction, right? You want to select a subject stream for your A-levels. Most of you would want to do your preferred mode, right? But your parents might be having a say, right? No, Puta, it's good to do bio. No, Puta, it's good to do maths. No, 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 you must definitely do commerce. Your father is also an accountant, so you must definitely do that. So, but you know what your potential is, right? You want to be responsible for what you do. So, think about what you really want to do. If your parents are thinking otherwise, go and tell them, Tata, I think I'm good in this. කතා කරන්න. කතා කරපුවම ප්‍රශ්න විසඳ ගන්න පුළුවන්. So here, coming back to the poem, they don't want parents to interfere with them, right? Now there's a way. So what we can say the consequence, we can see the result. Now the son thinks, if the parents do not, if the parents always interfere, now there's a way, and I know I have to go away. මේගොල්ලෝ එක්ක මට වැඩක් කරන්න බෑ. දැන් ඉතින් මට යන්න තමයි තියෙන්නේ. Right? So the son thinks like that. Number 4, youth get disheartened when parents fail to listen to them. Right? That is also true. Young, they have a lot of things to talk. They have a lot of issues, right? But parents don't have time. The parents, they always talk. They always do the talking. They always do the advising. They always do the commanding, but they hardly listen. So son says, how can I try to explain? Because when I do, he turns away again. Monkey අනිකලා හට ඇරපු ගමන් යා වෙන පැත්තකට යනවා. Right? So is that the same story with you? Right? So that means you can answer this question very well. One before the last, father regards the son as an immature person. Right? Father looks at the son as an immature person. එහෙම තමයි පුතේ. Right? දැන් ටීචර්ගේ වයසත් එක්ක වත්තත් ටීචර්ගේ අම්මිත් හිතන්නේ ටීචර් තාම පොඩිනේ කියලා. Right? So she does everything for me. Right? Thank God she does everything for me. So even when you are 50 years old, your father will be looking at you and thinking you are very mature. So this father in the poem is also doing the same, right? So, who is not old enough to explore the world, right? You are not old enough. You can't go anywhere. So like that, there is this issue. You are still young. There's so much you have to know. ඔයා තාම දන්නේ මෙච්චරයිනේ. තව කොච්චර දැනගන්න ඕනේද? So the father is telling. Last one, there exists an ideological conflict between the father and the son. Both the father and son fail to respect each other's decisions, right? So father does not respect son's decisions. Son does not respect father's decisions. So they are lost in an ideological conflict, right? Father thinks his decisions are ideal. Son thinks his decisions are ideal, right? So the quotation, what is the quotation you can take here? Father, it's not time to make a change. Then what does the son think? Now there's a way, and I know I have to go away. Then tamai kale, right? So there is a very big conflict. There is a very big problem. Think about yourself and write, right? And when you answer, do not base your discussion, do not limit your discussion only to the poem. Then you will not be able to write a very good answer. Go to the word. Discuss about how it happens in the world. Discuss about its universal relevance. 2,000, 3,000 years ago, in the world, there were generation gaps. 3,000 years ahead, if we still have a world, there will be a generation gap. Understood? So it is a universal theme and a universal issue. So talk about it with reference to the vendor of sweets. Talk about it with reference to this poem. Make us තියෙන ඕනම මාතෘක text එකක් සම්බන්ධ කරගෙන මේ discussion එක ගෙනියමු. Right? Okay. That's enough about the poem Father and Son. So I'm moving. එහෙනම් තව චුට්ටක් ඉස්සරහට යන්න අපි. Yes. Choose company. Right. When you take Choose Company, Puta, this also has come in 2018. මේ poem එකත් ඇවිල්ලා තියෙනවා 2018. Then the camel hump වගේ එකකුත් එන්න පුළුවන් ඒකත් study කරන්න, but I included Choose Company. Teacher ගත්තේ මේක. Have a look at the question. Boasting never brings you credit. It only ruins your image. Right? Boasting never brings you credit. It only ruins your image. Is this true? So I have put down the boasting utterances and actions, utterances of the protagonist. And on the right side, how he is ruining his image. Okay, take 1 minute and read it. අවශ්‍යයි ලියා ගන්න. Excuse me. Yes. So I thought in the first part, right, in the initial part of the poem, you find the boastful utterances of the protagonist, right? The first one that we come across is the protagonist laughed at the story of a haunted house. He laughed at them and said, "Tut, tut," right? So that is an extremely boastful utterance, right? He is laughing at the story. Holma, mono holmand, like that. Number two, now there are two parts to the question, Pratik, right? So I'm taking the first. Boasting never brings you credit. So I'm talking about boasting here. It only ruins your image. Later on, I will talk about how it ruins your image. Number two, talking about ghosts was something unimportant for him, right? Ghosts again, it was something totally unimportant for him. I have never heard such tittle-tattle. What is the meaning of tittle-tattle? Unimportant word, right? මේ මොකද්ද මේ කොහෙද යන මොනවද මේ මොනවද ghost ලා කියන්නේ I have never heard such tittle tattle. Clear? So explain it, right? This is the most beautiful poem in your anthology. If you get the chance, please answer. Then, so he was boasting. Number 3, I'm sorry, he was overconfident about his opinion and weave about the ghosts, right? So the poet, protagonist, he was very confident, not just very confident, he was overconfident. Yatika Pramani Hikmama Hitagine Hitia Puma by overconfident about his opinion and weave about them. And just to prove I'm in the right, Mum by there is nobody called ghost. ඔයාලට මං කියන එක විශ්වාස නැහැනේ. Just put me in the house just to prove I'm in the right. Right? මට ඔයගලන්ට ඔප්පු කරන්න ඕනේ මම බය නැහැ කියලා. So like that he says. That also shows පුතේ he's boasting. Now what about the tone of the speaker? අපි බලමු මෙතන මේ tone එක මොකක්ද කියලා. He laughed at them and said tut tut. Right? An overconfident tone. Yeah? An overconfident tone. And here, I have never heard such tittle tattle. Yes, it is a boasting tone, right? A boastful tone, right? එතන තියෙන පුරසාරන්තෝඩ වන tone එක. And just to prove I'm in the right, yes, again, overconfident and a boastful tone. Please leave me here to spend the night. So there, what is the tone? He wanted to prove that he was correct and the others were wrong. And the others were wrong. So please leave me here to spend the night. Now tell me, think and tell me, what kind of a tone here is used here by Raymond Wilson? If you are awake, you're not sleeping. So tell teacher, what is the tone of the speaker here? Please leave me here to spend the night. Kavinda, let's wait. Mocking. Confident. Right. As you tell, ඔගොල්ලෝ කියන ගමන් පොතේ teacher තව දෙයක් කියන්න. Right? Please leave me here to spend the night. Right? Please leave me here to spend the night. So what is he? Is he asking his friends to do something to him? I did not get the correct answer. What is he doing here? Is he asking others to do something to him? To leave him. So to leave him is he wants others to do something for him, right? So is if teacher says here the tone is he's using a requesting tone. He's requesting the villagers to do something for him. Requesting tone. Is it correct? Please leave me here to spend the night. I'm making a request. Puta, Dinasi, can you please on your camera? Don't do that. I'm just telling, right? Puta Dinasi, can you please on your camera? So what is the tone of me? What is my tone? I'm requesting you to do something, right? So it is a requesting tone. That is it. Requesting tone, right? And the requesting tone is coupled with a challenge, right? All these, right? The requesting tone is coupled with a sarcastic, a challenging, and an overconfident tone, right? So the most important must be written first, and the less important must be followed with it. පැහැදිලිද? ප්‍රධානම දේ ඉස්සෙල්ලා ලියන්න. ඉතුරු ටික ඊට පස්සේ ලියන්න, right? You can't say a sarcastic tone is not there. You can't say overconfidence is not there. No, they are there. But the first is, it is a questioning tone. Sorry, it is a requesting tone. Understood? Right. So how is he ruining his image? image How is he ruining his image? Now, nobody is there, but the writer says it to us, right? Wilson says this to us, right? So we know he is tarnishing his image, right? Even though nobody notices, the following explains his behavior. He draws the curtains at hearing the rattling noises of the chains. He hears some rattling, right? So he draws the curtains. And then again he hears some noises. He hears the stroke of 12, my God, at night, but there's no clock at home. So he gets doubly scared and he shuts the door and turns the lock, right? He shuts the door and turns the lock. And after that, somebody is laughing. So like a joker. So he takes the poker. What is a poker? It's something like an iron bar, right? ගෙදර තියෙන අලවංගුවක් ඒ වගේ එකක් ගන්නවා යකඩයක්. දැන් බීරන්ත වෙලා ඉන්නේ. So is he ruining his image? ගන්න දෙයක් නැහැ. He has ruined his image. Next one. And after that, again he hears some noises. එයාට තවත් සද්ද ඇහෙනවා. So he checks the doors and he shuts the windows. And the climax is now the window, the iron bar, the doors, the curtains, none of these things can protect him, right? Now what is happening? He found a simple cupboard. So he goes inside the cupboard and he is sitting carefully inside the cupboard. So up to his ear, a voice comes. කොඳුරනවා කවුදෙක් කෙනෙක් ඇවිල්ලා කනගාවට මොකද්ද කියන්නේ පොතේ, right? How do you do? I'm a ghost. Praying, who are you? ඔයා කවුද? මම නම් ghost කෙනෙක්. Ghost's place is also intruded by this boastful man. Understood? So do you think he's actually ruining his image? එයාගේ image එක නැති වෙලාද? Yes, I think so. මට නම් හිතෙන්නේ එහෙමයි. Right? Okay. Right. That is about it. තව එකක් තියෙනවා discuss කරන්න. I'm quickly going, right? Right. This is easy, I think, right? The next question I selected was to critically evaluate the behavior of Smirnov and Popova, right? So I took some facts from the previous marking schemes. Tisha ගත්ත පුතේ 2018 data එකේ Smirnov ගැන කිව්ව characteristics උත් මෙතනට, right? අරගෙන තමයි මම discuss කරන්න හිතුවේ. Now, critically evaluate the behavior of Smirnov and Popova mean it's like compare and contrast කියන ප්‍රශ්න වගේ, right? So first of all, you have to take the common things, right? The two characters are there. So you have to take the common characteristics of both first. And after that, the important unique characteristics of each, take them separately. Understood? So you can jot down these characteristics or you can take a screenshot. So these are shared by both middle-aged landlord and landlady, right? This was the time of feudalism. අපි කතා කරන වැඩවසම් යුගය කියන්නේ ලෝක ඉතිහාසයේ සාහිත්‍ය ගොඩක් ලියවෙච්ච යුගයක්. When you take Tale of Two Cities, when you take Oscar Wilde's The Nightingale and the Rose, All these were set in the backdrop of feudalism, right? Whatever some යුගය කියන්නේ 80% 80% of the lands were owned by 20% of the people, right? ඕනෙම රටක් ගත්තොත් ඒ රටේ 80% භූමිය 120ක් මිනිස්සුන්ට තමයි අයිති වුනේ. ඉතුරු 120, the remaining 20% of the land were owned by the remaining 80% of the people. That means there was a very big gap between the rich and the poor. Clear? There was a very big gap between the rich and the poor. The rich were extremely rich and the poor were extremely poor. They did not have a penny, right? When we take Sri Lanka, but then we saw in a particular government, the people who had more lands, අපි කියන්නේ ඉඩම් ජනසතු කරා කියන්නේ. අන්න ඒ කාලේදී මේ වැඩිපුර ඉඩම් තිබ්බ මිනිස්සු ඒගොල්ලන්ගේ ඉඩම් රජයට දුන්නා කියන්නේ. Right? That is about history. So a middle-aged landlord and a landlady, and they display hot-tempered, bearish qualities. Right? The bear is very ironic. The title is very ironic because both these characters are hot-tempered. All get angry, very wildly angry, and they have bearish qualities. And can you say one character is polite? The Smyrno comes home and says, I want my money. Your husband has borrowed some money from me, so I came to collect it. I am not in a disposition to pay you money. So is Papua rude or polite? Extremely rude, right? Okay. And she is impolite. So both are impolite and both are rude. Then both exhibit anger through extremely trivial situations. When trivial means the very simple, right? Minute situations are used to exhibit their anger. Right? Through words, through utterances, by breaking the furniture, by their actions, behavior, they show. And both are unsympathetic. She does not feel sad about the plight of Smyrno. He is in debt, but she is not worried about it. And she is in mourning. She has lost her husband. Smyrno is not sympathetic. So both are unsympathetic, right? And both are inconsistent in their characters and actions. Consistent now, as humans, we must have consistent qualities. Consistent qualities. Now, let's think today when I'm talking with you, when I'm doing the lecture with you, I'm having a very good mood. But just think tomorrow you meet me. ඔයාලා හෙට එනවා මාව හම්බ වෙන්න. ප්‍රශ්නයක් කතා කරන්න. හෙට ඉතින් මම I will be like a dog. I will bark at you. I will say, why did you come here? Don't you know you must have an appointment to come and meet me? So yesterday I was very polite. Today I am very rude. And tomorrow again, yes, did I say like that? No, you can come at any moment and meet me. So what is this? See, like a zigzag, neither. One day angry, one day cool. One day angry, one day cool. Inconsistent. So people must be inconsistent or consistent in behavior, in character. You must be consistent. Otherwise, you will not have friends. Right? So both these people are inconsistent in their actions and characters. And one before the last, both have double standards, right? Both have double standards. Then mama double standards. What is the meaning of double standards? Double standards can one of you explain? Yes. Think and tell me. What is double standards? You tell something, but you do another thing. There's duplicity, right? Two-sidedness in an utterance. Now, when you take Smyrno says, I hate women. I would rather sit on a barrel of gunpowder than talking to a woman. They explode, right? But the moment Popoa brings the gun, goes to bring the gun. Oh, look at her! How much I really like her. The dimples in her face, right? So, double standards. And how about Popoa? She says, "I'm in mourning. I'm going to confine myself to these four walls, and I will not see anybody else, right? And I'm going to bury myself within these walls." මොකද වෙන්නේ? In the last scene of the drama, she's wrapped up in the warm hands of Smyrno, right? Double standards, right? Is it good to have double standards in life? No, right? You must do what you say, and you must say what you do, right? You must be a very polite person, right? ජීවිතේට ඒවා හොඳ නෑ. දැන් මෙතන මේ හොඳ නැති ගතිගුණ කියන්නේ ඒ දේවල් ඔයාලගේ ජීවිතේටත් හොඳ නෑ, right? ඒ ටික ජීවිතේට ගන්න. And last one, feels the need for love and physical attachment. So Smyrno is alone. He's a lonely character. He really needs love, and he really wants somebody to be with him, right? The attachment of somebody who is very good, very close to him. And how about Popoa? She has nobody. Luca is the servant, right? So she also needs love, company, and attention, and a very good friend to share her ideas. So both are in need. Okay, but when you take some qualities with it, they are unique for Smyrno and some are unique for Popoa. Have a look at it. Smyrno expresses his anger by fighting. Yeah, fight karnapata he shows his anger. And he is prejudiced and chauvinistic. That means he has prejudices when he has set ideas about women. Women are like this. They are, at one moment he says, the words quickly don't come, like poetess, right? කවි ලියන්න පුළුවන් කියනවා නේද එයාලා ගැන, right? And she has widow's weeds and right, yes, you can go through and you can find them, right? Okay, then chauvinistic mean he looks down on women, right? He looks down on women, and he ridicules women, he condemns women. Then he teases Popoa, saying about a state of mind. Oh, you have a particular state of mind, so you are not in the mood to pay me my money, right? So he's teasing Popoa, right? And he is demanding and authoritative. Now he is in another house right now. We have this host-guest relationship with it. When you are a guest in another person's house, you must be less demanding. But in Popoa's house, he is demanding. Bring me water. Bring me some horse. I want some more water. Right? Ask your lady to come. So he is demanding, and he's very authoritative. And he's demanding for money. I want my money. I will not go. Okay. You have a state of mind. I'm going to stay here. Right? Demands for money. And he's behaving like a vagabond. He's breaking furniture. He's commanding. He's not very nice. He's not decent. He's behaving like a vagabond, right? And his appearance is not respectable like a landlord, right? He has spent the night in an inn, right? And he has straw hay, and his boots are extremely dirty. Yeah, respectable landlord කෙනෙක් වගේද පේන්නේ? No, he is behaving like a very impolite, indecent man when we see him on stage. අපි ආව stage එකේ දකින්නේ හරිම නොවැදගත් මනුස්සෙක් විදිහට, right? So Anton Chekhov is using these images to laugh at the landlords and the landladies of feudalism who just had lands. They were not mostly educated. ඔගොල්ලෝ ලෝක සාහිත්‍යයේ feudalism පසුබිම් වෙච්ච පොත් අරගෙන කියෙව්වොත් ඔයගලන්ට හොවේ they had more lands, but the working class, the serfs, that means people like Luca, they got their children to study, right? Now අපි ගන්න දැක්කොත් ඇන්ටන් චෙකෝෆ්ගේම චෙරි ඔර්චඩ් කියන ඩ්‍රාමා එක මේ වැඩකාරයන්ගේ ළමයි ඒගොල්ලෝ හොඳට ඉගෙන ගන්නවා. And the landlords, they did not have money. They only have the lands. So they have to sell the lands to have more money. So the workers' children, they study and they buy these lands by selling. අපි ගම්පෙරළේදී දකිනවා පියල් කියන චරිතය මේ වගේ. මතකයිනේ? ඉතින් මේක කැරකි කැරකි යන චක්‍රයක්, right? වැඩවසම්යුගේ. And have a look at Popo, the facts I have given unto Popo. But, there is a mistake here, spelling mistake. Appearance, it must be. Appearance is respectable like a landlord, right? But Smyrna's appearance is not respectable like a landlord. And she lacks knowledge about monetary affairs. That means money, financial matters, she did not have any understanding, or she did not have any knowledge. That also has something to do with the Russian culture. In Russian society, women were just souvenirs kept in a cupboard. The women did not attend to any important thing. They were just there. They were like artifacts, right? ඒගොල්ලෝ නිකන් කැබිනට් එකක තිබ්බ ලස්සන භාණ්ඩයක් වගේ. But they did not know how to work. They did not know how to attend to these financial matters. Clear, right? So that is about Smyrna and Popova, right? Okay. So with it, I come to the end of the time, right? And your teacher, one of your teachers, she asked me to guide you on how to answer this question, right? Give me 1 minute, 1 minute. Talk then, Malana. Until then, if you have questions, you can ask. Yes. Have a look at this question. Now, this is the 2018 paper, right? And when you get questions from the novel, right, the novel extracts, you get 4 questions. Okay, ප්‍රශ්න 4ක් ගෙනවනේ පුතේ. The first question is to identify the place in the novel, right? The first question is to identify the place in the novel. Mostly the question is, what is the situation? Who are the speakers? When did it happen? Where did it happen? So just tell that. What is the situation? How many people were there? අහන ප්‍රශ්න උත්තරේ complete sentences දෙකක් තිබ්බනම් for these 2 marks, that's enough. Then the second question is a comprehension question. අපි කියන්නේ ඡේදය කියෝලා උත්තර ලියන්න ඕනි ප්‍රශ්නයක් තමයි දෙවෙනි ප්‍රශ්නේ. Right? Now let's have a look at this question. What is the boy arguing about? Right? The boy is arguing about something. බලන්න මේ පුතා යම් දෙයක් ගැන argue කරනවා. So what is the boy arguing about? Yes. Jagan's conventional business of homemade sweets. He doesn't want to be a traditional sweet maker. Mali does not like to become a sweet maker. See? And I can't. Why can't our country make use of my knowledge? Right? I can't. Vendor of sweets, his repugnance for the occupation came out unmistakably. Right? But ඒකට කැමති නැහැ. මෙතන මේ ඡේදය ඇතුලේ තියෙනවා මේ ප්‍රශ්නෙට උත්තරේ. And the third question today, you are given 2 phrases or sometimes 2 words. වචන දෙකක් වෙන්නත් පුළුවන්. to write the meaning of the following in your own words, right? So let's think you get new words. ඔයාලා දන්නේ නැති අලුත් වචන එනවා කියලා. So read the paragraph again. මේ ඡේදය ආයි කියවන්න. Get the contextual idea. ඔයාලට හිතෙන විදිහට ඒ වචනේ තේරුම මොකක්ද? Just give that. 99% your answer will be correct, right? 99% 99%ක්ම පුතේ උත්තරේ හරියනවා. And the last question is, what is the theme that is reflected through this dialogue? Right? Then, අපි ගත්තොත් අද මම කතා කරන්නේ vendor of sweets ගැන විතරයි. Vendor of sweets කියන එකේ තියෙනවා themes 6ක්. Right? Themes 6ක් තියෙනවා. ඒ themes 6 තමයි traditionality versus modernity. Right? Or traditionalism versus modernity. Then generation gap. Right? The second theme is generation gap. Third theme is marriage. Third theme is marriage. Fourth theme is Indianness. Right? හතරවෙනි තේමාව Indianness. And the fifth theme is spirituality versus modernity. Spirituality, that means connection with religion. Spirituality versus modernity. That is the fifth one. And the last theme is Eastern influence versus Western influence. Eastern influence versus Western influence. දැන් ඔය තේමා හයටම ලෑස්ති වෙන්න ඕනේ. හරි. එතකොට mostly the last question is connected to a theme. ගොඩාක් වෙලාවකට තේමාවකට තමයි සම්බන්ධ. එහෙම සම්බන්ධයි කියලා ප්‍රශ්න දුන්න නැත. Even if the question is formed in any other way, make sure you relate that to a theme. එක මේ තේමා හය එකකට සම්බන්ධ කරලා උත්තරේ ලියන්න. Now when you take bringing Tony home, the the attachment between a child and a dog, right? And the rural landscape, the story, like qualities in the bringing Tony home book, like that. You have its themes, right? So like that, always think about the themes and relate the question to the theme. Now, what is the theme that is reflected through this dialogue? You have two characters. Now, father is engaged in a trade, a sweet making trade. But the son, he has gone to America and come back with his new knowledge. He makes use of father's money, but he is not interested in becoming a sweet vendor. So it involves a lot of things. Make it a good theme, you know. One thing is the generation gap, right? Father is old and father is very traditional. So the son wants to do something new, but father can't understand. Like in father and son, father can't understand the tastes of the young child. Second one is traditionality versus modernity, right? Or traditionalism versus modernity. So the traditional mind frame of father cannot understand the modern mind frame of the son, right? And another theme is Eastern versus Western. Eastern influence versus Western influence. So when you take all three, think and tell teacher. Out of all these three themes, which is the most suitable for this particular dialogue? So you can see the answers. See, this is the marking scheme. Difference between tradition and modernity, difference between older generation, younger generation, the generation gap, difference between father and son, between Eastern and Western, or difference between perceptions to life, right? It's that means with the Malaysia, it depends on how you perceive. ඔයා ඒක දකින විදිහ අනුව තමයි ඔයා හිතන්නේ this is the most important නේද? මේක තමයි ගොඩක්ම වැදගත් කියලා. It's okay. Select the theme that you think is correct and analyze it. Now, 4 marks mean you have to analyze. You can't just write this. මේක නිකන් මෙහෙම statement එකකින් ලිව්වට you will not get 4 marks. Normally, at least 4 lines, 3 lines, explaining, analyzing, you have to write, right? What is the theme that is reflected through this dialogue? So you have to say this dialogue represents or this dialogue reflects the Eastern and Western influence through the behavior of traditional thinking, Jagan, and modern thinking, Mali. ඔන්න ටීචර් කොහොම හරි ඒක අස්සෙට දැම්ම themes දෙකක්. හරි. කපටි වෙන්න චුට්ටක් ඒ වෙලාවට දෙක තුනක් එකට එකතු කරන්න. And the traditional thinking Jagan is the vendor of sweets, and he thinks his son also can take over the industry and continue. Whereas the modern thinking Mali, who has gone to America and represents the Western that is very visible here. Clear? So you may basically use technical words. With තාක්ෂණික වචන, technical jargon, you have to use in your answer. Clear? I think that's enough, teacher. Is it enough? Did I explain it? I think the students can understand then. But you must have a very clear idea about your themes, right? Novels තුනම ගත්තොත් novels තුනේම themes ටික බලා ගන්න. ඒ themes වලට සම්බන්ධ කරලා තමයි ඔයාලා මේ ප්‍රශ්නේ සාකච්ඡා කරන්න ඕනේ. Right? Okay. So do you have any questions? ප්‍රශ්න තියෙනවද පුතේ? I think you will get the recording, right? Our director of English, Naina madam, she will put the recording to the group so you can listen to it and clarify all doubts about what you have, right? But you could not listen. Okay. Or what you could not understand because I was also rushing through like that. Yes. So take 1 or 2 minutes and tell me if you have anything important or anything, any problem with reference to literature. Until you think, I will tell a few things. When you write your long answers, make sure you have a very good introduction, right? Get the attention of the examiner, win the attention of the examiner through the introduction. It's like the start of an athlete, right? Let's think about Usain Bolt. Usain Bolt, Michael Phelps, wage athletes lava අපි ගත්තොත් they win by having a very good start, right? So you also must have a very good start from the introduction. In the same way, their endings are exceptional. So your conclusions, මේ හොඳට පටන් අරගෙන ලියලා අන්තිමේදී conclusion එකේ ඔයගොල්ලෝ ලියන්නේ. So all these facts prove this කියලා එක sentence එකයි. No. If your introduction had 6 lines, make sure you have an equally powerful conclusion at the end. ඒ තරම්ම එකක් ලියන්න ඕනේ. There must be a topic statement. You must briefly write the facts that you wrote in the body of the answer and finish with a quotation. Right? Quote එකක් විතර අරගෙන මේ finish කරන්න පුළුවන්, or follow the order that your teachers introduced to you. Teachers උගන්වපු order එකට යන්න, ඒක වෙනස් කරන්න. Right? And be very neat. Use legible handwriting. Don't cut. Help the examiner to read your answer. And when you are writing quotations, you can write the quotes in another color. Nil panning na uttara liyanne, quotation එක කළු panning ලියන්න. So it's very clear for the examiner to see, right? වැල්වට අරන් ගොඩාක් ලියන්න එපා. පැහැදිලි උත්තර ලියන්න. First part එකෙන් 35ක් ලකුණු ගන්න කොහොමද try කරන්න. Right? Okay. So I think yeah, get the themes. Themes ටික ඉක්මනට ලියා ගන්න බලන්න. මට මිනිත්තුවක් දෙන්න පුතේ. I will show them to you. Yes, right. Can you see the screen? Yes. So you can see the themes here. Yeah. The first one is with the tradition versus modernity. Right. Quickly jot them down. Tradition versus modernity. Number 2, spirituality versus modernity. Number 3, Indianness. Right. This is a very beautiful topic to talk about, right? It includes culture, traditions, Indian literature like Bhagavad Gita, Mahabharata, Ramayana, and Upanishad, and religion, the Hindu religion, and the goddess Lakshmi, and the statue Chinnadure and Periyadure were carving, right, with the 8 hands of the goddess. Then the customs, like putting a garland of jasmine on the on goddess Lakshmi, and the marriage customs, right? The dowries, and announcing the names and announcing a date for marriage customs, then practices, then the principles of people. Now, when you take Jagan does not eat salt, and Jagan does not eat sugar. So that is his principle, right? ජීවිතේ ප්‍රතිපත්ති තියෙනවා මිනිස්සුන්ට principle එකක් කියන්නේ ප්‍රතිපත්තිය. And behavior of people, right? මිනිස්සුන්ගේ හැසිරීම, right? So when you take Mali is very irresponsible, right? Like most of the youth, he's very irresponsible. That is his behavior, mainly because his father has done everything for him. The father has spoon-fed him, so he has become irresponsible in his behavior. And the values, right? Now, the value, Indian values, right? People respect each other, and people, they like to know about what happens in each other's household, right? They value life, they value relationships greatly. Ethics, achara dharma, occupations, the Indian occupations, the cart driver, the rickshaw driver, and the sweet trader, the kerosene dealer. So the occupations were limited. The dress code, it's mostly the sari. For men, it's the dhoti, right? Then food, right? Chandrakala, Upama, then laddu, තව එකක් තිබ්බා සෝහම් පප්ටි. කාලා තියෙනව නේද පුතේ? සෝහම් පප්ටි කියන්නේ මේ අර බොම්බයි මිටයි ගෙනියන්නේ මිනිස්සෙක් එන්නේ එයා ගෙනියන්නේ බොම්බයි මිටයි ගෙනියන්නේ අර කෙඩි කෙඩි වගේ. අන්න ඒ වගේ ලස්සන ප්‍රෙස් කරපු හරිම රස කෑමක්. When you go to a Bombay sweet, take it and eat. මේ හැම ජාතියකම කෑම කාලා බලන්න ඒවා හරි රායි. Right? And anything that is unique for a race, right? මේ ඔක්කොම Indianness එක ඇතුළට වැටෙනවා. Right? And another, marriage, right? Under marriage topic, you have the traditional marriage versus the modern marriage. Traditional marriage took place between Ambika and Jigan. And modern marriage, actually, it's not a marriage, it's a living together. But you can call it, refer to it as, this is what is understood by modern people as a modern marriage between Mali and race. Okay. Then the generation gap, right? The generation gap. As you can see in the picture, Jagan was somebody like him, right? He was reading. And Mali was more into technology. And Mali can't understand why India is not still updated in technology. ඇයි රට මෙච්චර පස්සෙන් ඉන්නේ? තාක්ෂණේ නැත්තේ. හරියට අද වෙනකොට අපිට හිතෙනවා ඔළුව උඩින් ලොකු ඉරක් තියෙනවා. ඇයි අපේ රටේ solar power නැත්තේ? නේද? ඒ වගේ දෙයක්. Right? So these are the themes. Right? ඕවා තමයි අපි තේමා හැටියට ගන්න. And there was another question. How ප්‍රශ්නයක් තිබ්බා. Yes. How important it is to relate the given idea to the today's society. Yeah. Normally in the marking scheme, there's something written in bold at the bottom. ඒකේ කියන්නේ පුතේ better answers වල මේ විදිහට තියෙන්න ඕනි කියලා ටීචර් එකක් පෙන්නන්නම්. දැන් අපි මෙහෙම ගත්තොත් yeah, you know, father and son, this is the 2018 paper. මේ තියෙන 2018 ප්‍රශ්නේ marking scheme එක. මේ ඔක්කොම facts ටික තියෙන්න ඕනි කියලා. නමුත් මෙතන කියනවා better students may point out this as a conflict between tradition and modernity. එතකොට මේ තාත්තයි පුතයි අතර තියෙන ගැටලුව ඇවිල්ලා සමාජ ගැටලුවක් නේද? ඒ කියන්නේ tradition එකයි modernity එකයි අතර තියෙන ප්‍රශ්නයක්. ඒ විදිහට සමාජයට සම්බන්ධ කරලා discuss කරන්න කියනවා, right? And I saw it in another. I can show it to you. Wait. Yeah, normally the examiners, they are guided to give more marks to students who relate the facts to the society and to the contemporary society and to reality. සාමාන්‍ය සමාජයට ඔයගලන්ගේ කරුණු ටික සම්බන්ධ කරලා උත්තර දුන්නොත් පුතේ it carries more marks. Have a look at here. This is about the vendor of sweets. Analyze with examples from the novel the relationship between Jagan and cousin, right? Jagan ke cousin ke relationship. So have a look at what is given here, right? Metik balana. What comes below that? Better answers could also argue saying that cousin is in a way shrewd in his dealing with Jagan. Other negative aspects of the relationship may be argued, right? Therefore, me වැඩිපුර දේවල් discuss කරන්නේ අපි සමාජයට සම්බන්ධ කරලා, right? To reality, right? Now, like when you discuss about voice kind, you must not forget about what happens at the present world and how people suffer. When you talk about fear by Gabriela Mistral, you cannot forget about how parents are so anxious about the future of children, right? So all this lead your discussion based on reality. Okay? Will it do? Right. Yes, I think with it, yes, Naina madam, will it be enough?
Yes, actually, I don't feel that it's enough because it's very interesting. I don't know what about the students today. If you have enough time and if the kids can join, we can continue. But I think it's 8:26. So, what do you think?
It depends on them.
Yeah.
Depends.
I think we have taken 30 minutes more, so let's then finish, isn't it? Okay. Okay, then I want to hear a voice from our students as well. What do you feel about the today's session? Isn't it good, Miss Anne?
Let's get the feedback from them.
Yeah. We need the feedback from them.
Excuse me, madam.
Yeah.
It's me, Lakmini from Nimala Maria Balika Mahavidyalaya.
Yeah.
Give me 1 minute. This is just to, I take this opportunity to thank our directress, Mrs. Nayana, and especially Miss Anne. And I think, Anne, you proved today that you are a resource person to our zone. Right, so it was very clear, very informative, very helpful. So thank you very much once again, Madam Nayana, just organizing this, and Madam Anne for your support.
Thank you very much, teacher.
You are welcome there. Okay, thank you very much as well. And so I think we came to the end of this wonderful session. Actually, it became wonderful because of Madam Anne, isn't it? So I should say I enjoyed it a lot. And we all must thank our resource person today, Miss Anne Peiris, the lecturer at Teacher Development Center, Bolevalana. Actually, this is a holiday for all of us, but she accepted to support you all in this critical situation. We all know as these kids, this time O-level batch, they face huge challenges last days. So she accepted this challenge, and she made your confidence to face the challenge ahead, isn't it, children? So I would like to thank you, Miss Anne, on behalf of our Nikambo Education Zone. Also, dear students, so happy with your participation even on a public holiday and cooperation given during the seminar as well. So don't forget, you all have to thank your lead teachers for giving this message on time. And even some teachers participated today. So it is a great sacrifice they have done. So my dear students, only 1 week ahead. So I think you have enough time to get prepared. So do your best, you will definitely win. So I think it's time to wind up. Good luck for your exams and good luck for your future. Thank you, everyone. Have a nice day.
Thank you very much. God bless you all.